The email hit at 11:42 p.m., like a doorbell I couldn't ignore. Subject: Your stay is confirmed, Waterfront Suites. Card on file, M. Patel. Special request: late check-in, rose petals. I don't travel to work. Ethan does, allegedly this Friday. The reservation said Saturday. I stared at the glow until my eyes watered. Then I did the thing I always do when something feels wrong. I grabbed a pen, tapped it twice against my notebook and wrote receipt number 1, hotel confirmation on my card Saturday. Card on file, M. Patel. Not his name, mine. I padded to the kitchen. His gym bag sat by the back door, half zipped like it had a secret. Inside I found a candle, a travel bottle of cologne, a small pack of fairy lights, and a brand new set of sheets, still folded in plastic. Cute, tidy, and not for a sales conference. A romance kit. He walked in brushing his teeth, hair flattened from the pillow. He saw the bag open on the counter and smiled like we were in on some joke. Props, he said. Client shoot. Ambience. For a client, I repeated. Who needs rose petals and sheets? Babe, don't be paranoid, he said, because that line is cheaper than honesty. He kissed my forehead and went back to the bedroom. His phone stayed face down on the nightstand. I opened our shared calendar. Ethan had blocked regional sales all day Friday, weeks ago. But Ray, my best friend who works in HR, had invited the whole office to a company picnic on Saturday. She sent me a meme about office potato sack races. I scrolled until I found it and screenshot the invite with the date circled. Work trip versus company picnic. 2 calendars don't tell the same story. I could have shaken him awake and asked 100 questions. I could have cried or yelled or begged him to say something that made sense. Instead, I opened the Notes app and titled a new folder Receipts. Under it, I typed, Receipt number 1, hotel confirmation, Saturday, my card. Receipt number 2, photo, romance kit, candle, cologne, lights, sheets. Receipt number 3, screenshot, company picnic invite, Saturday. I added times beside each one. If I had to have a bad night, I would at least have a clean file. I texted Aunt Lila, You home this weekend? She replies fast for a person who loves tea and silence. Aunt Lila always. Spare room and a kettle. Come if you need. Me, mate. Aunt Lila, I'll wash the extra blanket. No questions until you want them. The mattress creaked in the other room. Ethan laughed at something on his phone, the kind of laugh people use when they think a lie is far away. I stood in our small kitchen with the fridge hum and the pen in my hand and decided on something simple. I wouldn't glue anyone together. I'd let the receipt stick. Not a blow-up. A plan. In the morning, I played normally. Coffee. Toast. Good luck on your trip. He kissed my cheek and promised to FaceTime between sessions. His suitcase looked lighter than usual and less love weighs less than shirts. As soon as the door shut, I took clear photos of everything in the gym bag, then tucked the items back exactly as they were. No back pocket, sabotage. Just documentation. I opened my laptop and skimmed Waterfront Suites policies. I learned a new phrase, account holder authorization. If the card is in your name, you can call and remove it. My name. My card. That went on a sticky note. Call hotel. Remove card. Get confirmation. I took a breath and checked the wedding planning email folder I'd been ignoring. We weren't far along, but a vendor was waiting for a final decor payment due Wednesday. I flagged it. My stomach made a small, decisive knot. If the receipts said what I thought they did, there would be no decor to pay for. The future has a bill due. Do I keep paying? Ray texted from HR. You still coming to the picnic Saturday, or are you and Ethan in work mode? Me, what time is it? Ray, noon. Everyone's bringing sides. He RSVP'd, maybe. Why? I sent her the eye emoji, then a heart, then nothing else. Ray knows how to read silently. At lunch, I walked to the river and watched a rower cut the water in straight lines. That's all I wanted, straight lines. Facts that didn't slide around. A path I could follow out of the mess without breaking things I couldn't unbreak. I made a to-do list with boxes I could check. Remove card from hotel. Ask for email confirmation. Move paycheck to my personal account. Pause joint delivery apps and any subscriptions on my card. Pack a small go bag for Aunt Lila's. Draft separation plan, keys, subs, one short meeting in public. Keep story private and less people need to know. I slid the notebook into my tote and headed home. On the way, I pictured how the weekend might go if I said nothing now. He'd show up at check-in and the hotel would ask for a new card. He'd text me in a rush. He'd be annoyed, then embarrassed. He'd make decisions he could no longer blame on me. Meanwhile, I'd be at Aunt Lila's where tea tasted like spine. He packed a kit for ambience. I packed a folder for truth. That night, he brought me takeout and joked about bringing home swag from the conference. He kept his phone face down. I kept my face calm. After dinner, I tucked an envelope into the silverware drawer. Open Sunday. Inside was a 2-page separation plan, written like a checklist. When we'd meet, what we'd return, how to split the small things. Not legal advice, just boundaries. When the lights were out, I stared at the ceiling and counted breaths. On the nightstand, my phone lit up with the hotel's name again. We look forward to your stay. I labeled it receipt number 4 and turned the screen over. 1 week. That's how long this version of my life had left unless something honest showed up. But I wasn't waiting for honesty like a bus. I was building a timeline that could carry me out. Promise of payoff. I would not raise my voice. I would raise my proof. First thing Thursday, I called the hotel with my laptop open and my pen ready. Waterfront Suites, this is Ms. Larkin. The voice said, calm like a checklist with lipstick. Hi, Maya Patel. I'm the account holder on reservation number 7334. Please remove my card from file and email confirmation. No problem, she said. Removed. The guest will provide a new card at check-in. I'll send the receipt now. My inbox pinged. I wrote in my notebook, receipt number 5, card removed. Manager confirmed timestamp. He wanted ambience. The policy wanted a different card. I opened my HR portal and moved my paycheck to a new account. I paused our joint delivery apps and pulled my card off streaming. Not a tantrum, just a tight turn of the valve. Anything still shared would end after Sunday's meeting. And I wrote those dates down because dates protect you from I forgot. Ethan texted a selfie from an elevator mirror. Early start. Big week. Miss you already. I answered with a thumbs up and a heart because breaking up does not require performance art. At lunch, a wedding decor vendor emailed, final payment due Wednesday to keep your date. I stared at the exclamation point. Then I typed, please hold. We're reconsidering. I labeled it receipt number 6, paused payment, and moved the file to a folder named If When. The future had a bill. I stopped autopay on it. By afternoon, I had a go bag folded in half. Jeans, 2 shirts, toiletries, paperbacks. I slipped the separation plan into a plain envelope and slid it back into the silverware drawer with Open Sunday written in block letters. It was short, boring, and clear. Keys and calendars. Meet Sunday 2 p.m. at Daylight Cafe. Return apartment/car spares. Exchange mailbox code. Money. My card removed from apps/subscriptions. Last shared charges listed with dates. His new card required going forward. Contact. After Sunday, email only. Health. Please get tested. Ask. No late night talks. Daylight only. He called while I was printing. What are we doing Friday night? I'll be wiped, but I can order Thai and crash early. Sounds good, I said, because lies don't need a fight to end. They need air to run out. He came home with tulips and a story about a client who loves long dinners, the kind of client that looks like rose petals. We ate on the couch. He kept his phone face down. I kept my face steady. When he went to shower, I photographed the tulips and captioned it in my head. Ambience is cheap. Honesty is not backward. Before bed, I skimmed Waterfront's FAQ one more time in case he tried to claim some policy twist. The bold line I needed was still bold. Cardholder may remove their card at any time before check-in. I slid my finger across the sentence like a highlight I could touch. Friday morning, he rolled his suitcase to the door. Conference hotel's closer to the river, he said, like a man trying out a fact to see if it shatters. Text me when you land, I said. He kissed my cheek. His bag felt lighter than most work trips, unless cologne and candles weigh less than shirts. When the door clicked, I exhaled the way you do after a movie jump scare. Then I did the rest. Turned on Do Not Disturb, Aunt Lila and Waterfront to break through. Dropped my house keys with the neighbor I trust, just in case. Packed my router password card into my purse because I've learned the hard way that starting a new life includes Wi-Fi. I took a rideshare to Lila's. She opened the door with a smile and a kettle ready. Teabag selection or grief selection? She asked. I held up 2 fingers. She poured both. We didn't talk details. We set up my corner of her spare room. A lamp, a stack of folded towels, a blank notebook with a pen on top. She understands that quiet can be first aid. The consequence of my calm started to echo by dinner. Ethan texted twice in 10 minutes, sweet then suspicious. Long day. Can't wait to turn my brain off. What are you doing this weekend? Want me to bring donuts early Saturday? I typed and deleted 3 replies. Then I sent, I'll be with Lila. Have a restful night. True, simple, not an invitation. He shot back a heart, then a selfie of his room, number written on a key sleeve. I didn't reply. I took a photo of Lila's cat sleeping on my bag and labeled it receipt number 7 for me. I have somewhere soft to land. He had a room number. I had a room. After dishes, I pulled up a blank template in my phone. A 4-panel layout I could fill if I needed to tell the truth once. Hotel confirmation, card removal email, picnic invite, any photo he posted. I saved it. I hoped I wouldn't use it. Hope is allowed, it's not a plan. Lila and I worked a puzzle until 11. Then we set the kettle for morning and turned off the lights. In the dark, my phone glowed with the Waterfront banner again. We look forward to welcoming you. I flipped it over. Tomorrow, time would do the talking I refused to do for Ethan. I'd done everything I could without yelling or lying. The rest belonged to the clock. Saturday, 7:12 p.m. The teapot whistled. My phone buzzed 3 times in a row like it had practiced. Ethan, my card got declined at check-in. Did you mess with the reservation? Ethan, 2 minutes later, they said your card is off file. Put it back now. Ms. Larkin, Waterfront confirming. Patel's card removed yesterday per request. Guest must present their own payment. I set the phone on the table between me and Aunt Lila. The kettle clicked off. We let the steam fog the moment. He wanted me to fix it. Policy said otherwise. At 7:38, Ethan posted a balcony photo. River at sunset, a glass of wine, a caption. Finally, some R&R after a long week. The corner of the frame caught 2 silhouettes in the window. On one wrist, a thin silver J flickered. I knew Jess's bracelet from every soft launch she'd ever posted. I took a screenshot and titled it receipt number 8. Balcony post, timestamp, reflection. J bracelet. 2 minutes later, my mother's name lit my screen. I watched it ring out. Her text followed. He says he's at a conference. Are you 2 okay? Me, I'm safe with Lila. I'll message tomorrow. I did not apologize for managing my own emergency. I opened the 4-panel template and slid in the facts. 1. Hotel confirmation on my card Saturday, name blurred, date visible. 2. Card removal email from Ms. Larkin, yesterday, timestamped. 3. Company picnic invite Ray sent, today noon. 4. Balcony post with timestamp and reflection. At the top I wrote, timeline, not an argument. I'm okay. We'll handle logistics Sunday. Then I sent it to a need-to-know group. My parents, his sister, Ray. Comments off. I muted the thread and put my phone face down. 10 seconds later, his name flashed in all caps. Take that down. Then, you're ruining my career. Then, you misunderstood, just stopped by. The paste told the real story, anger, blame, scrambling. I turned off read receipts and texted one line. We'll talk Sunday, 2 p.m. at Daylight Cafe. Daylight only. He replied with a flood of voice notes I did not open. Mini hook. People will argue with your feelings. They can't argue with your timestamps. Lila poured tea into my favorite chip mug and set it in front of me like a vote of confidence. Do you need anything else? She asked. Yes, I said. A boring evening. We watched a cooking show where the stakes were herbs. I folded laundry. At 8:15, Ray texted from the picnic. HR just did team pics. Ethan, RSVP'd maybe, but I don't see him. Do you need me tomorrow? Me, yes. 2 tables over, Daylight Cafe. Noonish. Bring a book. Ray Cuppy. I'll be a fern. At 9:02, Ms. Larkin called again, thoughtful, professional. Just making sure you received the confirmation last night, she said. If you need a written statement for your bank record, I can send that. That won't be necessary, I said. But thank you. I let the word thanks sit there like a stone. Neutral witnesses are worth gratitude. Ethan tried a different key. At 9:30, we can fix this. Don't punish me. The word punish flashed like a hazard light. I typed, no midnight talks. See you tomorrow. Then I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and slid it under the couch cushion like a toddler-proofed outlet. He posted one more story. Just the river this time. No reflection, and wrote, haters gonna hate, which is what people say when proof is louder than the story they want. I slept because I could. Proof is a heavy blanket when you gather it on purpose. Sunday, 10:30 a.m. I woke up in Lila's spare room to sunlight and a cat foot on my shoulder. I printed the logistics packet I'd drafted. List of subscriptions with my card removal dates, the email-only boundary in bold, and a simple line. Please return your apartment key today. I dropped his watches and cufflinks into a small tote, added the romance kit items, minus the wine Lila and I used for science, and zipped it up. He had ambience. I had paperwork. On the way out, Lila tucked a pen into my pocket like a talisman. You don't need a speech, she said. You need signatures and a flat tone. At 11:55, I slid into a corner booth at Daylight Cafe. Ray sat 2 tables over with a novel held way too high. I placed the tote on the seat beside me and the packet on the table, spine aligned with the wood grain. My phone lay face down, my hand lay still. When the door opened and Ethan stepped in, I felt the old shape of us rise like muscle memory, then fall away like bad posture corrected by a straight chair. He looked smaller under daylight. That was the point. End beat reversal. He wanted me to argue in the dark. I brought him to the clock and the witnesses instead. He spotted me in the corner booth and did that half smile he uses when he's trying to steer a room before he sits down. Daylight Cafe, it was busy. People with laptops, a couple sharing pancakes, a barista singing under her breath. I wanted that normal to rub off on this moment. Ethan slid in across from me. You really had to invite a crowd, he said, flicking a glance around like the cafe had opinions. This is what daylight looks like, I said. I set my palms flat so he could see there were no fists under the table. The tote with his things rested on the seat beside me. The logistics packet lay on the wood, squared to the edge. Not a fight, a procedure. He started before I could. You blew up my weekend. That hotel stunt? Over nothing. Jess just stopped by to talk about a client. Then we won't need adjectives, I said. We'll use dates. He leaned back, smirk sharpened. You're being dramatic. We're planning a wedding. People take breaks. We can fix this if you stop making it public. It isn't public, I said. It's 4 screenshots sent to 4 people who would have been dragged into the cleanup anyway. And I didn't make your balcony post. He opened his mouth to pitch an explanation. I pressed play on my voicemail and set my phone between us. Hi, this is Ms. Larkin from Waterfront Suites. Just confirming we removed M. Patel's card from reservation 7334. The guest must present their own payment. Let us know if you need a written statement. The message ended. The cafe music crept back in. He blinked. The smirk folded. He brought stories. I brought the clock. I slid the packet toward him. Here's the list of subscriptions in my name, I said, tapping the top sheet. My card is off delivery apps and streaming starting tomorrow. These are the dates. If you want to keep anything, put your card on file. He flipped the first page, then the second. You're really doing this. I'm really choosing peace, I said. Keys and calendars, then peace. He tried a softer key. I messed up. It's stress, it's timing, it's... I opened the tote and lifted out the romance kit he'd packed. Candle, travel cologne, fairy lights, the sheet set still in plastic. I set them on the table one by one, like placing back borrowed words. You left these at my place, I said. They weren't mine. He flushed, anger rushing in to cover embarrassment. God, Maya, who does that? You're petty. Petty would have been paying for them, I said. This is accurate. He stared at the sheet set like it might help. We've had rough patches. People slip. You don't throw away years over one mistake. I nodded. You're right that I'm not throwing away the years. I'm shelving them. They don't get a vote about the next ones. He reached for my hand. I didn't give it. He tried the ring line. What about the venue? The deposits? And I held the line we agreed on in my head, the one I wrote in the plan. We're not doing midnight math in a brunch place. We'll address any shared items by email, I said. Today is keys. Keys, he echoed, like the word had bones he hadn't noticed before. He pulled his keyring from his pocket, slid off the apartment key, and set it on the wood with a little metallic sigh. I added my spare for his car, the one that had lived in a drawer too long. He blinked again. A key is a tiny object. It weighs a life. I pushed a single sheet toward him. Health at the top. 2 bullet points. Please get tested. Email me results if you want to discuss timelines. He scoffed like I'd asked him to turn in homework. I didn't flinch. Procedures protect you from people who think they're above them. He made one last turn down the old road. You made me pay for a suite I didn't even enjoy. That sentence is interesting, I said. It has your choice and your consequence in the same breath. He slumped. You can hear the moment a story stops working for someone and they realize the room won't carry it. The barista sang the word sunlight on a long note. Somewhere behind me, a spoon clinked a glass. The world stayed boring. That was the win. 2 tables over. Ray turned a page of her novel and didn't look at me. My phone buzzed once. She'd texted a single thumbs-up emoji. I breathed like a person sitting in a chair, not bracing for impact. Is there anything else? I asked. He stared at the tote, the kit, the packet, the key. Yeah, he said, finally, bitter curling in. You could say you're sorry. I am sorry, I said, and watched his eyebrows lift at the wrong hope. I'm sorry I ignored red flags. I'm sorry I let vibes stand in for facts. I'm not sorry for asking for the bare minimum and leaving when I didn't get it. He looked past me, out the window, toward the river where he'd taken that balcony frame. He pressed his lips together. So that's it. That's it, I said. After this, email only. I'll respond within 48 hours. No drive-bys. No midnights. Daylight or nothing. He gathered the tote like it weighed more than it did. It always does when you've been seen. He stood, then sat again like he remembered something. Don't you dare tell people at work. I haven't, I said. I don't have to. You posted a sunset. He went pale in the way mirrors do when they realize they've been mirrors all along. Unbelievable, he muttered, and walked out, the cafe bell giving him the only applause he was going to get. He wanted an audience. I kept a witness. I sat there long enough to finish my coffee. Ray came over, set a napkin on the table like a trophy. You did great, scrawled in her messy block letters, and hugged me without making me small. Home, she asked. Lila's, I said. Then I'll find a place where the router blinks for me. She grinned. Text me your Wi-Fi name when you pick it. Make it something cocky. Receipts_over_unders, I said, surprising both of us. We laughed, the kind that clears a ribcage. I left a cash tip that felt like a benediction, took a photo of the key on the table for my folder, and walked into afternoon that didn't need to forgive me to be gentle. On the sidewalk, the air had that bright, ordinary quality it gets when you're no longer lying to yourself. I put the key in my pocket and folded the logistics packet in thirds. Aunt Lila texted a single word, kettle, and a heart. I walked toward it. Cliffhanger into Act 5. A new door, a blank cabinet, one page taped inside called Standing Policy, and a room where the only thing I had to manage was the piece I'd planned. I walked into Aunt Lila's kitchen and let the door shut the weekend behind me. She had the kettle on like a porch light. We didn't do post-game. We did dishes. We let the room be boring on purpose. I didn't need closure speeches. I needed quiet that stayed. That night, I slept in the spare room like a person who'd stopped arguing with clocks. In the morning, I booked a short-term sublet 3 blocks from work. Tiny place over a bike shop, white walls, a window that faced trees. Lila drove me over with 2 boxes and a plant that looked like a starburst. We named it Proof because we're funny when we're tired. The first thing I set up was the router. When the light blinked awake, I renamed the network Receipts_over_unders because Ray dared me to, and I keep promises when they make me smile. The password was simple and smug, daylight only. I opened my laptop and wrote one last logistics email, the kind you can search years from now when memory wants to argue. Keys, subscriptions, contact going forward. Keys exchanged today at Daylight Cafe. My card is off delivery apps and streaming effective tomorrow. See attached list with dates. If you want to keep services, please add your card. Contact is email only. I'll respond within 48 hours. Please see attached standing policy for future boundaries. Wishing you health. Please get tested. I attached the standing policy I drafted on Aunt Lila's couch. No shared cards for work trips. No midnight talks, daylight meetings with witnesses only. If I have to build a collage of receipts, we're done. Peace is not a prize I earn, it's the plan I keep. You can frame a future with 4 lines and a spine. Mom texted an hour later, I don't like any of it, but I'm proud of how you handled yourself. I screenshotted it and filed it under receipts. I didn't need her approval to breathe. I saved it, so a year from now, I wouldn't rewrite this week into something smaller. Ethan tried twice more by text. First sweet, then sharp. We can work through this. It was dumb, not evil. You cost me money. You didn't have to make it hard. I pasted the same line both times. Email only. He didn't email. People who want a scene don't like forms. Ray came over after work with takeout and a label maker. We did dumb labels for smart things. Rent, router, tea, spare keys. I taped the standing policy inside the mug cabinet because I've learned that rules work best where your hand reaches every day. We sat on the floor and ate noodles out of cartons and didn't timeline the last 3 years. It felt like laundering a blanket and hanging it in the sun. I wasn't just leaving something. I was starting something that didn't need defending. The next morning, Ms. Larkin from Waterfront sent one final email. As requested, card removal confirmed. Guest provided alternate payment. I replied with a thank you. Then I archived it. I don't plan to reread it at 2 a.m., but if 2 a.m. comes, it can stand there for me. At lunch, my boss asked if I was okay in the gentle way good managers do. Taking care of some personal things, I said. I may shift a couple meetings to mornings. He nodded and told me to bring the plant more water than I think. Adults making adult plans is my favorite genre now. That evening, a cousin forwarded a screenshot of Ethan's last story. Just the river, no captions. It looked like a person trying to reframe a weekend after the frame was gone. I didn't respond. I turned my phone to focus and put it face down. I wrote a short note to myself and taped it next to the Wi-Fi password card. I don't live where I'm not trusted. If I must choose between calm and closeness, I choose calm. When the facts weigh enough, I set them down and walk. Not a manifesto, a map. On Wednesday, the decor vendor sent a kind follow-up. Checking on your date. I wrote back, please release it. Then I closed the tab and watched the cursor stop blinking. Some endings are just a nice clerk typing done with good posture. By Friday, my place smelled like lemon oil and takeout and a candle that had never been packed in a gym bag for someone else's night. I lined my shoes by the door. I filed the last of the printed emails into a blue folder labeled receipts and slid it onto a high shelf I couldn't see unless I wanted to. I didn't post a collage. I didn't write a speech. I texted Aunt Lila a photo of the plant on the sill and the Wi-Fi name on my laptop, an empty box that meant I was unpacked. She sent back 3 hearts and a sticker that said, "Boring is safe." She's right. On Sunday morning, I walked to the river with a coffee and stood on the public path across from Waterfront Suites. Someone else took a balcony photo. The wind did what wind does. I looked at the water and thought, I'm not a person who needs an audience to be free. On the way home, my phone pinged with an email from Ethan at last. 3 lines about returning a hoodie and picking up a toolbox. I replied with 2 time windows and the phrase lobby exchange, because rules are doors that open and shut exactly when you want them to. I climbed the stairs to my place, turned the key in a lock that only knew my hand, and stepped into a room that didn't argue back. The router hummed like a small engine. The plant named Proof leaned toward the light. I put the kettle on and set a mug under the cabinet where my standing policy lived. I didn't need to read it. I knew it by heart. He packed a romance kit and called it a weekend. I packed a folder and called it my life. The glue was never in a bottle, it was in the receipts. Once they stuck, I didn't have to. I walked away and the quiet stayed.